I'm gonna take this guy for a drive. I feel like there's brakes. I feel like there's pressure, but they just won't work. So I'm gonna try to bleed them and see how that goes. And if that doesn't work, then I'll start taking the wheels off. But hopefully I can bleed them a little bit and get this. Just want some braking. So I decided to go ahead and take the bleeder valve all the way out, and there's no fluid even coming out. So I'm gonna try to do the gravity bleed thing and just see how far back I need to go before I'm getting fluid out through these lines. Love to see some fluid draining out of that hole. That sounds really bad, but it's true. Just trying to get the wheel cylinder out. I cracked all these lines. I got brake fluid all the way to here, but it's not coming out of the bleeder valve at all. So I'm just thinking the wheel cylinder needs to be replaced. I'll probably plan on replacing all four. I don't know if the fronts are the same as the back, but I will try to get this out and grab some new ones from my favorite auto parts store, whichever is closest. That's my favorite. So axle looks pretty good though, I think. Burly. I guess it's 1 ton, 1.5, 1 or 1.5. That I know. That's the wheel cylinder there. Having a bad hair year. Shit. I think these shoes actually don't look too bad. I think everything actually looks pretty good. So I'm going to leave well enough alone and try to just replace the wheel cylinder. The thing just completely vanished from the face of the earth. Oh, it's right here. Yeah, I should be able to get the wheel cylinder out now. Working on cars is not easy. Oh, mama. Maybe I didn't have this off yesterday. Working on cars is therapeutic for me. Oh. Teaches me patience. I don't know why I do it. People always say, I thought you liked working on cars. I thought you enjoyed that. I do. Oh, that's why you're out there yelling at it, throwing stuff around in the garage? Well, it's part of it, I guess. I guess I'll just let her drain. So I tried looking online a little bit for a replacement wheel cylinder, and I feel like the ones I found for my truck, which are 1 ton, they don't look like this. Like, I feel like maybe someone in the past has put this on my truck that might be for a 3/4 ton. I have no idea. When you look in the threaded hole for the bleeder valve, it's pretty crusty in there, and I think that's probably what's causing the failure. You can see the cylinder wall is a little crusty. I think just because they haven't been used in a while. So what I did is I used my vise with this pin and pushed it in. I was hoping that it would push everything out, but it's now compressed the spring in there, and this side hasn't moved. So I'm trying to push everything out. I want to clean it up, and I think this one will be okay. That's my goal. And if that doesn't work, I found one that looks right. I'll probably buy it. It's 35 bucks. But I'm going to try this first. If it works, I'll probably do it to the other 3. So wish me luck. That's starting to push it out. So that went really well, actually. I just need try to find a big socket. That might work. That should work. Let's try that. Really need a bigger vise. That's all I got right there. Well, does anyone got any ideas? So it's really compressed in there. This seems kind of strange, but I'm going to go back the other direction, and I'm just going to work it back and forth, hoping that just moving it back and forth will loosen it. Now I'm all the way back the other direction, and yeah, that worked. So awesome. And then this side's going to come out, and this is the kind of stuff that's in there. I don't know what that's from. So I'm going to clean it out. So that's pretty good. I think everything actually looks pretty good. I'll probably just put it back together, and it says 1 1/8 inch on there. So I could measure the inside diameter of the wheel cylinder to get that with my calipers. I was going to order a new one, and then I need to know. I guess that just sits on there. It's a pretty simple thing. It is stamped with some numbers. It looks like the same numbers in there: 2936, 2339. So those numbers don't match at all, so that helps. I guess that's your caps. You have your spring. I'm going to clean all this out, put it all back together. But in here, I know you won't be able to see this on camera, but it's not looking too good in there. The brake fluid comes in here. This is the bleed. So I think I can clean these out. I can't even blow air through there. That seems fine. And the one where the bleeder goes, it's really not allowing air. So what I'm going to do is, I have this tool that's designed specifically for this. It's actually not, it's just this wire I found laying around, but I think it'll go in. You can see some of that stuff in there. I'm going to do this. I can't see, but I'm using my phone to look at the GoPro. I feel like a surgeon, like a robotic surgeon. Don't tell any surgeons that. So I'm feeling inside here now, and I'm realizing that the stuff on the sidewalls of the cylinder is just buildup. So it's definitely going to come out, and I'm going to be able to clean this guy beautifully. And then I'm going to put it all back together. So I've got this stuff here, and I'm going to, I really don't want to put a lot of pressure on it. I'm just trying to clean it. So put a little oil in there. This stuff has three uses in one. One of them is for wheel cylinder cleaning, lubrication. I'm not sure what the other two are, but actually I'm going to look up why it's called 3-in-1. Now I'm curious. I feel like I used to know that. Prevents rust and leak and tarnish. Lubricants. Oh, it lubricates, it cleans, and it polishes. It polishes. I'm actually using it for all three at one time right here. Such a simple thing. I'm not sure why I was intimidated by it. Put it back in here. So I think I should, not much to the spring.
That should push it. This spring in here, all it does is just kind of keep everything together, I guess. Eventually. And replace the spring, these end boots, and the internal, those stoppers, whatever you call those. I actually saw the name. I forget what they're called. I guess that looks good. And this guy. I guess it's good it doesn't just go on easy, because it's actually kind of got to hold that stuff together. Ooh, it's going to rain again, what do you know? So then that's that, and then these guys just kind of pop in. Boop. Lost the other one already. Boop. Tighten all this down before I connect the brake line to here, and this groove lines up with that, goes through that little hole, and then through here into the wheel cylinder. And that would work too. I actually got on a website and they had these, they call it a block, just a block. The wheel cylinder goes onto my truck like that, and I believe it comes into the back like that, but we'll figure all that out when we get back to the truck. So alright, I think that's going to be good, and we'll go install it. Alright, thanks guys, we'll talk to you soon. Happy summer, happy first day of summer.
Hey guys, how's it going? Wanted to do an update on what's happening out here. It's been a little while since we did our second phase of cleaning out the little house back out, and the goal was to get old Yeller running. So I rebuilt the brake cylinder, and I'm going to install it here in a bit. While we were gone, there was heavy rains, and I neglected to cover everything up, so there's some surface rust on my axle and spindle. So I'm looking for my wire brush to clean that off a little bit. I was in one of the craziest lightning storms of my life last night. I'm sure it's going to be similar tonight. It's kind of scary. My neighbor offered to come by with his brush hog and trim the weeds out here. It's really starting to get pretty thick for now. I mowed a couple paths. I mentioned to Molly that I just need to find an old throwaway mower that runs and we can beat it up. And a couple weeks ago, someone set one out on their driveway in our neighborhood and brought it out here. I think the reason that they abandoned it maybe was because either they got an electric mower and didn't want any more, or because this cable housing broke and you could no longer pull this bar down to start it, this safety bar. So I disabled that and put some gas in it, and she started right up. So 6.5 horsepower, Briggs & Stratton, and she's mowing through some pretty thick stuff. I don't know if you can see all the way over the house. I got a nice path going. So that's pretty cool, at least to have some paths out here that we can walk around in, because like I said, it's pretty thick. try to get this wheel cylinder in, and then we'll try to bleed the brakes again. If they don't bleed, I'll probably try to take that wheel cylinder off, and now I know how to rebuild one, or clean one out at least, and that'll be the next stop. Maury's starting. Always wanted to be a bird watcher. Now I'm a bird watcher indoors. It's kind of cool. The pigeons are hanging out up there, and I know that I don't want pigeons in here, but that's a perfect pigeon perch. Oh, hey, by the way, I brought the hood out for the Belvedere. It's got the ornament. It's a nice hood. I got to get the V8 emblem on here and get this hood on there. Once I try to get that puppy running, I think that hood will go on there. I love that hood though too, so we'll see what happens, but at least it's out here. See? I've discovered that there's bird poop in a line everywhere that these tension rods go. So they sit up on these tension rods and shit all over whatever's underneath. It's just a straight line of bird shit. I'm like, why isn't it a straight line? I look up and there's a tension rod, so you can see it. That's probably a pigeon right there. Yeah, see the straight line. So I'm thinking of just cutting those out. I think that's the best solution, so that's what I'm going to do. All right, back to the wheel cylinder. This is how you put a wheel cylinder in. Not really. This is how I do it. Oh yeah, mama. All right, now I'm going to try to hit my head on this one more time. Okay, so what I ended up doing was taking, it's got this block on it. Let me show you what's going on here. This is different than I'm used to with a wheel cylinder. God, I hate to take this back off, but you can kind of see, well, I'll take it back off. So I couldn't really line the brake line fitting up with this block. So what I did is I just took the block out and screwed it onto the fitting, and then kind of blocking my light as I try to do this. Like I've said in past videos, this is a how not to do things channel. So I'm sure that I'm trying not to block it. So that looks pretty good. And then I got to go find a wrench. I'm going to tighten this down. I'm going to tighten this down. And then we're going to put the springs back on. Step one, put the hub back on. Step two, it's got this little spacer. I think that's just to cover the bearing while you put this lock ring on. I want to make it so there's no play. Not super tight, just tight enough so there's no play. That feels pretty good. Okay. Then this guy goes on, and kind of figured out how it works. That's my, I will call my lock ring. And then once I get this final guy in, and the torque spec on this, I believe, is just enough.
and then you find whichever one's kind of lined up with it and bend it in, which in this case there are none. So I think what I'll do is go to right there and back off a little bit, and we'll use this guy. Of course, that's the one that. Okay. And my little birdie. There we go. And that will, I guess, lock that guy into place for all eternity. Okay, put the axle in. I could actually go ahead and bleed the brakes now, but I want to try to get this as complete as I can. I feel like there's an inner bearing, so when I slide this in I can feel it drop down. So I got to raise it up, kind of align it, and then I got to line the splines up with the ring gear. And there's one. Probably put new lock washers on. I don't know. I was always taught to replace them, but I think we're good on these. Hey everybody, it's a hot day. Big plan for today is try to start getting up the asbestos containing floor tiles in the kitchen of the little house. I'm trying to get Old Yeller back on the road again, working on the brakes, put a new wheel cylinder on the back, and got that wheel back on. Wasn't able to get any fluid to come through the bleeder valve up front, so I'm going to pull the wheel cylinder out of that and clean it up and see if that helps. I'm just trying to get this brake line loose so that I can pull the wheel cylinder out, and I'm not very good at this, I guess. So the situation is that when I try to take it out of the back of the wheel cylinder, it just spins. So I'm going to disconnect it from the frame. 3 wrenches on this. I got this one. You can see I got the 5/8 over on this side. And then I got the 7/16 to loosen the actual fitting here. I guess the good news is that fluid's coming out of here. I'm taking this nut off now. And then this should come off of here. Should I put new hoses on here when I put everything back together? Oh, probably. Whoa. 4 hours later. That's quite the thing. Okay. Just taking the wheel cylinder mounting bolts out. I actually do own ratchets and even ratcheting wrenches, but you know, sometimes it's more work to go get the tool than to just do the job. And here's my bolt. There her is. Let's go clean it up. This one looks a lot worse already than the rear one did. So we'll take this over to the press, put these back in to press it out. Again, we'll see what we got in there. came over here to the press. There's actually a bull snake in there. There he is. It's a bull snake. I stepped on him. I wonder if I hurt him. How do I get a bull snake out of here without hurting myself? And when that happened, it's so strange, a huge rat. Well, there he goes, look at him. Just leave him alone, huh? Hey, baby? Yeah. Now see something? You might not. I don't know if it's still here or not. Yeah. That's kind of the whole thing right there. That was exciting. I need to be more careful. I grew up in Colorado, and anytime you lifted up a piece of plywood or tire or anything, there was always the potential for being a bull snake, or we didn't find rattlesnakes under that stuff, but so it freaked me out, and I jumped back and came out here, and then as I looked back to try to come back and figure out where the snake was, I thought I was going to try to catch him, get him out of here. A huge rat went running down top of the foundation or whatever, so I don't know where that went, but it looks like that rat was living in here, and maybe that bull snake was coming to get that rat. So if I would have not interfered with all that, the bull snake would have taken care of the rat for me. Yeah, so pretty exciting. So now the bull snake's gone, the rat's gone, and I'm going to try to get back to my wheel cylinder here. There goes a mouse. Or baby rat. I hope that, well, the bull snake will probably take up residency in here, and maybe that's why our mice aren't so bad. I mean, I just gotta be careful where I look. I don't mind the bull snake. Actually, I think if I there's the cup pressed out. Should be able to maybe get the rest of it out. So I got the cup. Again, they look good. I've always just gotten new ones. Well, always, once. Gotta be smarter than the wheel cylinder. Really should have had glasses on for that. Really looks fine inside. You know, watching this thinks I should get a vise out here. I would say you're 100% correct. They're so expensive though. It's unbelievable. I'm really trying to, I don't mind buying one. I really need it, but it'd be so fun to find one in an auction or just a really old, used, just a really cool one. So, I mean, it's looking pretty good. This is all I did with the other one. I just cleaned it up and put it back together. And we're going to have friends over for the 4th of July, so I should go get myself a little bit cleaned up for that. Have a couple beers, and probably get to bed early so I can head out for my trip tomorrow. Alright, if I end up putting this back together and trying to get it on tonight, I shall film that. Otherwise, see you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks for hanging out with me again. We made it out to the farm this weekend, mainly to grab the trailer. I'm going to go and try to pick up those, one of the Impalas, I'm sorry, Bel Airs, I wish it was an Impala, this week. And the other main goal for me, at least, I think we are going to try to work on the floor in the little house, but the main goal for me is to try to get the brakes fixed on Old Yeller. And I bought some new brake lines. Inlinetube.com. Saw a bunch online, they just didn't look right to me, so this one looked right. I kind of wanted to go down to the store and pick them out and make sure they fit. The hose is a little bit smaller diameter. I cannot blow through this thing. I don't know how it would get clogged up, but I think it's going to work for me. So we'll see how this goes. Just do not know what that's for. I'm just going to do that. I don't know. Oh, you fucker. Tighten this little bastard in there. Oh. I think this is going to work. Oh, okay. I'll tighten this guy down. Doesn't really need to be super tight, but all right. That ought to do it. I'll try to use one of these new ones that I have. Try this guy. Yeah, alright. Alright, let's try to bleed them. I need a new master cylinder, but let's see what we can do. I tried to take this off earlier. This goes to my trailer brake. I don't really need a trailer brake right now, so I was going to take that off and reconnect the main brake line. Use this little fitting into there, but this was too stripped out and I quit while I was ahead, so we'll see what we can do. Oh, that is the first time since I've owned this truck that brake fluid made it through the wheel cylinder. That's a good thing. What was it, 30% chance of rain? It was worse that night though. I mean, it's hard to believe, but shows the power. It could have just tripped the breaker. I don't know if our power is actually out at the pole or...
Good morning. Back out at the farm. It's a very windy day. Not very windy, but it's windy. And I was kind of complaining about it, but it's better than it being super hot. But I hate when the wind comes ripping through here, and I'm trying to work on stuff. But got Molly to come out with me, and we worked on getting up the old tile in the on the kitchen floor in the little house, and it went unbelievably good. Just the fact that we got it all done, it went really good. It was not an easy job. I think the two of us were in there for about 3 hours-ish, 3 hours plus, wearing Tyvek suits and sweating our butts off. Overall, it went really good, and she's over there taking the plastic down, and we're going to vacuum up the dust and try to get into phase 2 now. So phase 1's done. And don't tell Molly this, but my main goal for this trip was to get old Yeller running. Not running, but try to get the brakes fixed. I've been going through this thing wheel by wheel, and I am horrible, and have always been horrible at bleeding brakes and just dealing with drum brakes. So I decided that I came up with a theory, and I'm just doing this manually. I'm pumping up with the stick, and then I'm wedging it in there to hold pressure. So I don't have a helper. I'm not going to ask Molly to help me because she's got better things to do, I'll say. So I'm going to pull this wheel off. I'm going to lift the back up, so I'm going to have all 4 wheels in the air, and I'm going to go do the same thing on the back that I did on the front. And my hope is that I can get equal pressure, or I should say equal clearance with each drum relative to the brake shoes, so that when I apply brake pressure, they all kind of expand equally. And I read in the manual, it says that it's very dangerous to have different clearance in different wheels. You should have the same on all. Probably because when you brake, you're going to get more pressure on one or the other, and it's not going to go down the road straight when you slam the brakes on. I'm not sure. This is the last wheel that hasn't had the wheel cylinder cleaned up. So I'm going to do that, put everything back together. I'm going to go back and forth in the back. I'm going to try to get all 4 kind of equal. I'm going to apply pressure, and I'm hoping that I go around the truck and I can't force any of the wheels to spin. And then I'm going to start the truck up, and I'm going to take it for a drive. We'll see how that goes. We're trying to get out of here by 3 today to head back to Denver, so I've got about 6 hours to get that done. Molly also wants me to help her with vacuuming over there, so the chances of that happening are about 12%, which is pretty good. Also, I'm going to get the trailer cleaned off. We're going to take the trailer home, and I'm going to go pick up that 1960 Bel Air hopefully next weekend, and that'll be pretty fun. So I can't wait to show you guys that car. All right, let me get going on this. If I was efficient and could focus on it, I would say this would be an hour and a half, less than 3 hour job, and I'd be on the road, but I can make a 3 hour job into a 3-day job, no problem. So other than that, hope you guys are having an awesome Sunday, or whatever day it is. It's Sunday for me, and thanks for being here. For some reason, when a nut is stripped out, you can kind of go at it from the side, I feel like, and grab it. I don't know why. It kind of is counterintuitive, but it seems to work. Mess. This one's pretty bad. These are completely shot.
This one, yeah, they're both completely shot.
Trying to get this wheel cylinder for Old Yeller put back together. I went to Advance Auto and got these rebuild kits for $3.50. They were on sale, so I bought two. All it comes with are the end covers, these little guys, and a spring. Should I try the new spring or should I leave the old one in? Significantly different, but try the new spring. All right, let's go put it in. Boy, this just feels like it wants to just strip itself right out. I'm gonna just stop while I'm ahead there on that one. It's like one face, it's still good. So here's a little trick I taught myself. If you put the wrench on, see if I put this on it straight on, it doesn't do anything. It just strips. But if I go at 45 degrees, it'll actually turn it. Well, except for there. Try it. I don't know why that, I gotta think about why that works, but it works. That's pretty tight. So I'm happy with that. Kind of get stuff working in its current state, and then come back and rebuild it and make it nice later. I thought, well, you know what, I'm in here, let's go ahead and fix it. And that just seems to open up a can of worms, and a lot of times I can't find the right parts. So by doing this, you can kind of get an idea, or I can get an idea of what's good and what's not good. But the plan for me is to definitely go in and replace all these components. See if we can bleed them at least though. So I ended up putting this in. It was a little bent, but tightening down the other ring on there straightened it out pretty good. It's still got a little bend to it. Seems like people that know often adjust these shoes such that they just kind of drag a little bit. But I'm going to go with just a little drag. And that's what I have on each wheel. Oh, it smells bad in here. That's actually pretty tight. Well, I just relieved the pressure, so let's see how we're doing. I think they actually feel pretty good. That's actually, oh, not great. See how the other ones are. Not on. Not on. Not on. Well, that's a bummer. I guess the next step would be to replace the master cylinder, which that feels actually tight. No. Tighter, but not tight. Tight. So this side, both of these are tight. That didn't do anything. We have a 4-hour video on bleeding brakes. Oh good, there's dog hair in my brake fluid. When you have a golden retriever, you get to have dog hair wherever you go and whatever you do. That one's tight. That one's tight. That one's tight, but I can still turn it. And that one's tight. Well, should we go for a drive? Do the real test? Okay, let's do it. Guess I got it bent in there. It's not going anywhere. Hub's nice and tight. Good to go. Okay, back to where we were. That was a lot of work. Old Yeller is finally back on the ground. I feel like the brakes are kind of working, at least enough to drive it around and start messing with other stuff like the carburetor. So, man, that was painful. Definitely need to work on finding a new master cylinder. The other thing I did on this, I pulled this fitting off that had, and it had, this guy goes to a trailer brake controller, and then the main brake line came in the side here. Luckily it was bendable tubing. I can kind of bring it from here over to here and in. Single cup master cylinder. Just need all new brakes. If I can get this thing running reliably, I will just go through and put 100% new brakes on here. Probably will never go disc because I wouldn't even know where to start with disc brakes on these front hubs. I'm going to work on getting a battery in it and getting some gas. And I think I gotta move the truck and trailer out of the way too and do some cleanup, and then I think we'll go for a little drive and see if the brakes work. Does that sound like a good plan? If it doesn't, then maybe go take a bathroom break, and well, by the time you get back, the video is gonna be over, so I'm gonna apologize in advance for this being a long, crappy video of how not to do wheel cylinders. All right, see you in a bit. Thought I'd show you guys how I have to start it. So I turn the power on here. And then it's in neutral, right? Well, and then she should start up. Oh, keys aren't in it though. Ignition, there was no key, so we had to put a new ignition in it. Let's see if she starts. So. Kind of wants to. Let's try that again.
Barely spilled any. Looks like it's trying to pump fuel. Carburetor really does suck. Nadia's gonna go with me, huh, girl? So I'm gonna put it in gear and make a run, and hopefully the brakes work. We'll see how this goes. She stopped. She didn't stop good. She's a big truck with a lot of torque, so, but she did stop. That was awesome. Believe me or not, I'm gonna go, it's a bold statement. I'm gonna go start Old Yeller, one crank. I'll hop in it, me and Nadia, and I'm gonna drive it, and you'll see me stop. And this may not mean much to you, because I don't know. It was really hard for me to get here with these brakes. I know a lot of guys can do brakes and it's not that big of a deal, but I'm excited about it. It's Old Yeller Day. You go for a ride, girl? Come on.
On the road again. Old Yeller might be on the road again soon. We don't know. But maybe. That's exciting. You did it. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked on Old Yeller having brakes. So the goal, and this is the goal with all my cars, get them running to a point where Nadia's happy riding in them, and we can go to the market to get a 6-pack. The nearest town is 10 miles. It's actually 11 miles. So 22 miles round trip without overheating, without running out of gas. That's my goal for all these cars. So priority is carburetor, number 1. Number 2, I think it needs to be gas tanks. Third one is probably water pump. I don't think it leaks, but I need to change that pulley to the right size pulley. 4 is the starter, and then number 5 is the generator. You know, as you use stuff, it starts to work miraculously. So maybe there's only 3 things, but that's the list of 5. How cool it'll be to go get some beers, put some gas in there, drive home. Man, it's too fun. So thank you guys for watching. I know you have better things to do. Hopefully this is a nice distraction for part of the video, or if you watch the whole thing, I really appreciate it. There's little random crap I put in there that if you don't watch the whole video, you probably still get it, but maybe find some humor in it. Again, if you're coming through Nebraska, message me and give me a heads up, and maybe come out and you can help me get one of these old girls running. So thanks guys, we'll see you soon.